Happy Monday and eve of Christmas Eve, Surgeaholic Sooner Nation. Welcome back to the Sooner Surge, the podcast that tells it like it is. Before we get started on this commitment video, make sure you hit the like, you subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, and you turn on your notifications so you will be notified when we drop another video. The Sooners today do land finally a tight end out of the portal. It's Carson Kent. Out of Kennesaw State, Jay, and he's 6'4", he's 240. You knew that OU was going to look at adding a tight end. You know, obviously they have Devon Mitchell, Caden Helms, Cade McIntyre, Trinae Washington then coming in. So they've chosen to add Carson Kent here in the mix, and he's a guy that really, Jay, you look at what he's done, you can't find a whole lot as far as stat-wise, but it's very clear from what I've read, a couple of things that I've watched. He is definitely has a strength in blocking and was able to this last year do more in receptions.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Carson Kent, Kennesaw State. I think last year 18 receptions, maybe 217 yards. So you got, I mean, that's Bauer Sharp had what 300 and something yards. So it's not a ton of production. I mean, it's just. That's the fact. I mean, he's got 2 years of eligibility remaining. Everybody knows they needed another tight end. I mean, I don't think that's a question. But I think a lot of Sooner fans were maybe hoping for a bigger splash out of the portal. But when they missed early on some guys and what was left here down the stretch, not a whole lot out there in the portal tight end wise. So maybe it's the guy you get now, and maybe if somebody enters the portal later on, you're able to go after him. I don't know. I don't know really as far as the tight end room, Germ, what their thoughts are for next year. I mean, I think you got Devon Mitchell and you got Caden Helms that I think if you go by talent alone, those are your two best. If you go by talent. Now, neither one of them have really played. So I don't know what you can really base it on off of except talent. So you got now with Trinae Washington coming in, that gives you 5 tight ends now. So you got some guys you can get. And if like you mentioned, if Carson Kent's a really good blocker and Arbuckle's really good at scheming that, maybe there's some options there. So we'll see what happens, Jerm. I mean, he's got good size. He does. He's a guy that in his first year in the FBS last year, that was his best year of, I think, the 3 years he was there. So that's a positive. But
yeah, and I believe he does have 3 years of eligibility. I have to confirm that, but you're right, Jay. You're right, Jay. Sooner fans have been wanting and waiting for a guy like Devon Mitchell to play to see what he can do. I think Sooner fans are going to get their chance Friday in Fort Worth, as I believe Devon Mitchell is going to get some playing time. He's almost going to have to. And then Caden Helms, a guy that's been just battered by injuries and has not been able to be consistent as far as getting some run on the field. So you got those two guys. I don't think anyone expects the tight end room, Trinae Washington, maybe to come in and make a splash. So that leaves you Cade McIntyre, now Carson Kent. And people are asking, who is Carson Kent? Well, there's not a lot to say. I do know offers, other schools. I think 18 schools offered him out of the portal, Jay. Amongst those were Wake Forest, West Virginia, among some others. So it's not like there was no one going after the guy. Other schools are going after him, and probably for the same reason OU was. And there are, the phrase "diamond in the rough," Jay. That is a phrase that's been used. Whether or not Carson Kent is going to be a diamond in the rough, time's going to tell. But it was clear that OU was going to go get someone out of the portal at tight end. He's the number 17th ranked tight end in the portal. So we'll see what happens as he gets on campus. And if he can be developed and what he looks like with Arbuckle's scheme. I would have to think Ben Arbuckle had a say in this as well. Watching maybe some of his film, looking at his measurables and saying, this is definitely a guy that we can use here on campus in the scheme that I'm running.
Well, and I think when you're dealing with the portal, Germ, you don't know, like all you know is who's out there right now. And he was out there and they probably looking at it, I think that's the best they're going to do right now with who's out in the portal. With the chances they have, okay, this is the guy. Let's capitalize. Let's get him in on campus, see what he can do. you know, you look at last year, Jeremy, out of the portal. Oh, you got Bauer Sharp and Jake Roberts, and neither one of them really had a big contribution. I will say this, though. If Carson Kent's a guy that can make an impact blocking, make an impact on some stuff that Jake Roberts did early on this year, some plays. What game was it? He kind of clinched the game with the play, but I just think you'll see. We'll see what happens when he gets on campus. I mean, there is definitely, Jeremy, it can happen that he's maybe a lot better than people think, and he just hasn't had the opportunity. That can definitely happen. They beat out West Virginia for him. West Virginia wanted him pretty badly, so that's it. But I think right now it's just there's no way to know, because here's the thing, Jeremy, you said it, I said it. There's not enough out there to, like, the sample size on him. There's not a whole lot out there. So, like, I can't sit here and say he's going to be all world. I don't know. I can't sit here and say he's not going to do anything. I don't know. I mean, he had 18 receptions. I think the year before he might have had 14 receptions. So there's just not a whole lot to base it on right now. So we'll see, man.
Yeah, I mean, average almost 2 catches a game, 1.6 receptions a game. And what you said there, Jay, I think is kind of the key. A tight end is a position that can be, you know, a dynamic impact player, a guy, you know, you can go through the lore of tight ends at OU, and there are some guys that stand out as guys who are just big-time playmakers. There's other guys at that position who did a lot of the small things and weren't big-time playmakers in the big scheme of things, but, man, they did a lot of the little things. And maybe that's what Carson Kent can do. Will he be the big-time playmaker? Will he do a lot of the little things to open up running lanes and other things? Time is going to tell. All we know today is the Sooners have landed their eighth addition out of the portal, Jay. This one being a tight end, and I still look for OU to add possibly 2 more before the portal's up.
Yeah, I think they'll add 2 to 3 more, maybe 4. I mean, they might get up to 12, but I think for sure they're going to get up to 10 to 12 range. We'll see. I expect a defensive lineman, either interior and edge. I expect possibly another O lineman and then maybe another receiver. So that'd be 3 right there. So, yeah, I mean, where do they rank in the portal right now? I mean, I'd have to look. It's not extremely high, but, you know, they played a ton of youngsters last year. If you go look at how many guys they played in the freshman, sophomore age range, it was a ton. So they got a lot of young guys. I just think, speaking of Carson Kent, it's a guy that gives you a guy that's played football for 3-4 years. So he's got some experience, two years left. And I don't know, Jeremy, we're going to see a lot in this bowl game come up this week, tight end, because
we'll see. They don't have many receivers. They don't have many receivers to throw to either. So tight end may be used. But, hey, Carson Kent has committed to the University of Oklahoma, the 8th edition out of the portal for the Sooners. And thank you so much for subscribing to our channel here on YouTube. If you haven't, hit the subscribe button, hit a like in here, and give us a comment, your thoughts on Carson Kent, the new addition to the Sooners. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.